Hey, what's up, everyone? Happy Tuesday. I am driving back into work, and I got a new phone over the weekend, and that is going to be the story of today. How I went from being with Verizon for probably about 20 years to switching to AT&T in the matter of about half an hour. And it's a great story about sales, strategy, making things easy for someone in order to get somebody to switch what they're doing and try something new. So I think it was Thursday, I came back from the office and my wife said there were some AT&T guys who were just kind of knocking on doors, and they were saying that they have a new tower in the neighborhood, and so they were just going around to all the neighbors and letting them know, and that's why they're in the neighborhood, and that they wanted to just talk to everybody and let them know what offers they have and everything, and asked us like what phones we had and everything. And I said that you weren't here right now, but you'd be back at like 5:30. They could come by then. And so she let me know when I got back around 5 o'clock, hey, these people came by, they said da-da-da. And I was like, all right, cool, I'll shoo them away. I'm used to dealing with salespeople, I can figure them out. And then right at 5:30, knock on the door, they're right there. And that was my first like kind of nudge towards actually listening and being receptive to these guys. And so I went out there and talked to them a little bit, and they asked me like, oh, what phone you're on? I told them like, oh, well, I just switched over my phone, in the last year or so. I have the S25. Like, well, we can give you the S26. I'm like, okay, but I have the 512. They're like, oh yeah, we can do that, no problem. So pretty much anything that I had that I just like kept peppering them with, like, well, like she has this phone, like, do you have these colors? Like, no, but we have these. And we just kind of went through step by step of all the reasons why I was, kind of staying with Verizon. I told them like, well, my parents live in like a kind of rural area, and their coverage, the reason why they have good coverage on Verizon is when we go to visit them, we want to be able to have coverage too. And so it's like, okay, well, like there's been a lot of changes over the years to our coverage map. So can you tell me their zip code? And he had like the coverage map ready to go on his tablet. So he's like, okay, like where are they here? And like zoomed in, and the coverage map of exactly what like the 5G coverage would be, covered their area now, which when they first moved out there was about 12 years ago. Only Verizon had decent coverage in the network. And so that's why we all went with Verizon. My parents were on Verizon. We stayed on them just in case we visit out there. It would just make sense for us to be able to have coverage out there. And Verizon's always been the most expensive plan ever. Most of my friends have had AT&T or T-Mobile or Sprint or whatever else over the years. But I always liked having the best coverage. And Verizon was always that, but a lot of the other networks have kind of caught up in the recent years, and with speeds nowadays, the extra little bit doesn't really make much of a difference. And so once I saw, okay, the map shows coverage, all right, and he's like, listen, when's your next trip out there? And I told him like it'll be a couple months, and he said, so listen, if you go within like the next 2 months, they have a completely like free like cancellation policy. If it's like due to coverage issues or anything like that, you can cancel, no questions asked, and you can keep the phones and everything. Everything will be all covered. So even if you do go out there and coverage sucks and it's just not what it needs to be, you just call me. This is my number. I'm the agent handling all these things here in the neighborhood. So I'll make sure that you're taken care of. So there's a lot of little things in that process that when I was thinking about it and talking with these guys, I'm like, this is really good door-to-door sales. And given that that's what we do with these cards, it makes sense to be receptive to learn lessons when you talk to somebody. Because I get a lot of cold calls, and sometimes I'll play with them a little bit too and ask them about like what they're doing, and that if they actually, I can tell that they're from the States. If they're just calling from overseas and there's like a 3-second delay before they even answer, and then they say what they're going to say and use my business name saying, oh, I'm talking about this for Google activation, then I just hang up. But I did get another recent call from, I think it's like Main Street Marketing or something, that is based in the US, and they're doing it right. They're having actual conversations with people and asking them about things. So always be receptive when you're in a sales role, like we sell these cards, how other salespeople do it, because you can learn some lessons. So these guys, they had the map ready to pull up. They knew what objections people had were coverage and price. And so they had those nailed down. He asked me, okay, what phone do you have now? Okay, da-da-da. All right, so with that plan, with this, how much are you paying now? I told them like a lowball number for what I'm paying for Verizon, because it's definitely a lot more, because I haven't renegotiated my contract over time or anything. But I gave him a lowball kind of estimate on what I'm paying, and he was still able to like kind of cut that in half. And so I'm like, all right, if this, if everything you're saying is true, and I'm going to have a newer phone, same coverage, same everything else, and they go through that same things too. You'll get newer phones, you'll have the same coverage. Listen, do you have your driver's license on you so we can like look it up to make sure you'd be covered? And so it was an easy commitment to not say, hey, are you ready to like sign? You ready to do this? No, it was, hey, do you have your driver's license on you? Obviously, I was just at work. I just got back. I drove. So he knows I drive. So I can't say, no, I don't have my driver's license. Like, obviously, I have my driver's license somewhere. So I had it in the house. So I couldn't say no to, do you have your driver's license? So I'm trying to think, what question can we ask to that that can get somebody to have like one of those micro commitment moments to selling the card. Maybe ask like, oh, do you have a business card on you? And the business card could be completely irrelevant to what you're doing. For his, I don't think they probably actually needed the driver's license, because what are they going to look up there besides my address, which they're already at my house. But we did need it to scan to do the authorization later, so I already had it, so it wasn't a break point later where it's like, oh, now we're getting to the commitment phase of, oh, now he's asking my driver's license for this. It was just like, oh, do you have one on you, so I can just like kind of get your information down or whatever. And so that little commitment already got me to go back inside, get my wallet, and come back out. And then, hey, where's your driver's license? It's also in your wallet usually. And so now I had my wallet on me, so got me there too. So think about that. See if you're talking like door-to-door people, ask if they have like a recent flyer that they sent out, or a postcard of their business, or like any other marketing material they have, and see if they have something like that kind of builds that kind of commitment little by little. So after I did that and gave them my license, they looked everything up, and they just started giving me a little bit. And then they just made the process really easy. They told me exactly what would happen next. Like, okay, so we have the iPhones in stock, so your wife will get hers tomorrow. This is how you activate it. We handle everything with Verizon. Do you have your Verizon? Do you have like my Verizon app? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, okay, just sign into there. I'll press all the buttons you need to cancel everything out. Oh, I see you're on auto pay. We'll make sure we take that off so they don't hit you with a surprise bill. What we do is, on your final bill from Verizon, where you have to pay off your old phones, you just send that into this address right here, and I'll text it to you right now. And then as soon as you have your final bill PDF, you just send that to us. We send you a gift card that pays that off completely. And so all these things, like, it sounded difficult in the past of like, oh, I'm like switching providers. I don't want to do that. It was just like, all right, it'll all be taken care of for you. You don't have to think about it. You don't have to go here, go there. The only thing is, after you get your new phones, you get them activated to send off the old ones. You'll You'll get a box and you'll drop them off at a UPS store. That's all you have to do. You don't have to talk to anybody else. You don't have to talk to Verizon. We handle all that for you. You don't have to talk to anybody else. We do it all. And so it made it super easy to switch. And I've been with Verizon my entire adult life. Since I got a phone going off to school in Gainesville in 2005, I've had Verizon. So 21 years I've been with them. And one conversation, not going into a store, like for as much as AT&T advertises, everybody, at least probably in the Southeast, knows AT&T. I don't know if they're national nowadays. They used to be Bell South back in the day, and they expanded beyond that. But for as long as I was with Verizon, for 21 years, and for all the ads that I've seen for Verizon to stay on with them, or AT&T, or T-Mobile, or Mint Mobile, or any number of different carriers, it just took a knock on the door and being on time and being professional and being prepared, and I switched. And so now, who knows how long I'll be with AT&T. If they provide good service, I could be a customer of theirs for many, many years. And all it took was one actual personal conversation. I never had somebody from Verizon just call me out of the blue like, hey, you've been a customer with us for a long time. Let me give you a deal on something. No, I always had to go to them to find my new phone that I wanted to get when it was time to upgrade. And for all the marketing budget and everything that they have, being a massive company that they are, I never got that kind of customer service, even though this wasn't even customer service, this was sales. But the way they handled it was so nice and easy that it gave a good taste of what working with AT&T would be. He said we'd have a dedicated line that, max of 10-minute wait times, which, I guess that's good nowadays. Maybe wait times are longer, but not promising like, oh, you'll be answered on the first ring would be an unrealistic expectation. But saying the wait times are like only 10 minutes, okay, maybe that's better than the alternative. I don't even know. But the fact that they knew that and said it, and it wasn't just like an overpromise, made it more realistic and more feasible and more acceptable. So that just made the process super simple. I just finished transferring all of our phones over last night. Everything was super straightforward and easy. All of our data and everything transferred seamlessly, joining onto the AT&T network, Verizon. So far, it's been fine. I haven't really used it much yet to do any big uploads to YouTube like I will. But seems like it's pretty good. And so, like I said, all it took was a conversation. So translating that to the world of, direct mail, when you're cold calling or when you're kind of going door to door, you'll probably find some people that have been doing or are doing some other direct mail marketing. And so you have to be prepared for not necessarily somebody to switch, like I had to switch from Verizon to AT&T, but to be open to something new and something different. And that's a big hurdle for a lot of people. If they're doing a certain kind of marketing, like, oh, I spend this much money on Google, you have to be prepared for why this is a good complement to that, why you should do this as well. So if somebody says, well, I spend most of my marketing on Google Ads, then you could tell them that's a great way to get to those people that are like already buyer intent and they're already going on there and searching. But what about those people that aren't quite yet ready, but they know it's hurricane season down here in Miami, and like their rain gutters just like kind of, they've been slowly building up with all the leaves and everything from the past season, and they're just kind of clogged up, but they're not at the point of searching Google for it. They're not going out there and when they're scrolling on Facebook, looking at their friends' posts and funny cat videos or whatever, they're not thinking about their gutters at that point. But when they're getting their mail and they're walking back into the house and it's a rainy day and they see an ad for your gutter company, do you think that might help you when they then Google you, or they Google for gutters and they see your company name there again? Do you think that inches them towards some trust, a level of trust, and like being a neighborhood company, a local servicing company that's already like working in their area, wants their business? Do you think that would help some? Just seeing them in their mailbox. And of course, it can't hurt. So when you say, do you think that could help? Well, yeah, I think it could help. So you get a yes there. Then you just ask little simple things along the way that kind of commit them, kind of nudge them along the way before you say, hey, I can get you in a mailbox, in 5,000 mailboxes for like $500. What are the things that are going through their mind first before they get to that point of wanting to get their ad in 5,000 mailboxes? Why would they want their brand name in 5,000 mailboxes? And we think, as the people that do these cards, we know all the reasons, but we have to remember that they don't. And so when you're talking to them, some business owners make it super easy on you because they've done direct mail before. They know the value of it. They know what it costs. But a lot of people don't. They don't know what it costs. They don't know what print advertising costs because they're used to running a $5 a day Facebook ad. Even if it gets them nothing, they feel like they're advertising. And if they're spending $5 a day on an ad, that's still $150 a month. And when you can tell the advertisers that when people get these cards, they hold on to them for a couple months because we cover so many different businesses. Somebody might have their insurance coming up in 3 months. So they want to hang on to the card because there's like a really good offer to review your insurance plan. They're holding on to that for the next couple months so they can call them then. And all that time, your business is in there getting that free exposure. You're not paying for any more clicks. You're not paying for any more views. You're not paying anything else. You just pay this one time. You get your ad designed in their house into 5,000 homes compared to how many views do you get on Facebook for your $5 a day? Minuscule. So you have to be prepared to have these kind of conversations with the advertisers and translate the value that you know into something that they understand now and why this is a good fit for you to move them over to. So that's what you need to kind of have in mind when you're having these conversations. It's not always just going to be a pitch and close. You want to gather information. What are they currently doing? Why are they currently doing it? So that you can understand where they're coming from, how you can help them with their goal, not them helping you with your goal of closing out a card. So yeah, that was my lesson in sales. They were probably 20 somethings, just kind of in the neighborhood. I told them how I never really wanted to switch to another provider, but I'd been seeing ads for T-Mobile recently, so I was thinking about them. And the guy that was with the sales guy was like, "Oh yeah, I'm already in the process of switching from T-Mobile. Like their coverage it's not been that great." And so just little things like that. They're ready to have something to say that sounds realistic and sounds honest. And so it just kind of makes you feel like you're making the right decision along the way without being like overly pushy. Because they weren't really pushy, and they were really nice guys. They were really pleasant. They had been walking around our neighborhood. We have like a big like complex of townhouses around, and they'd been walking around for all day essentially. He told my wife earlier when she was like, "Oh well, he's not home right now. He's not going to be home till like 5:30." They're like, "It's fine. We're going to be in the neighborhood. They have us out here until 8 o'clock." And so even that line of "they have us out here till 8 o'clock," that got my wife to be like, tell me that later on. Like these guys, their company has them out here doing this data clock. So you already have some empathy for the guys going into it. So it was really interesting. I don't know how prevalent this is. I don't know if you guys out there get door-to-door sales guys for switching wireless companies. I think we got somebody from AT&T before a couple months back, but I had just gotten my phone, and I told him like what like I had the 512 because I do all these videos and stuff. He's like, oh, well, yeah, we wouldn't be able to match that, or like, oh, if it's within like a year, we can't, or whatever. And so with this, I was more open just having conversation, given that like I do these sales. I just wanted to talk to some sales guys, and then they got me little by little. I was like, okay, let me get my driver's license. Okay, all right. Oh, you just need to take a picture of my ID for the identity verification. They texted a code to my phone so I could do it on my phone. And so it's just like little bits along the way before it was like, okay, sign here and we're done. But all those little things away didn't seem big. They didn't seem like a big shift or a big change. And they were kind of welcome because I'd been with Verizon. I know my bill was getting up there. And then I would just keep peppering him with things like, oh, right now with Verizon, we have like the deal with HBO and Netflix and Hulu or whatever. He's like, well, that's the one thing we don't have. And we don't have that. But with the savings you're going to be getting from the new plan, then that'll more than cover any difference in what you have to pay for those services. But that's like the one thing that they have on us. And it's nice for them to admit that, hey, there is something that they have that is reason why they have the value, but we still can beat them even with that included if you pay for it out of your pocket. So, and if we don't like it within a couple months, we already have our out as well. So it was good. It was a good conversation. It was a good sale for them. I don't know what their commissions are, but I know they are commission based. And I hinted at that as I was like talking with them, like, hey, I know you guys are out here hustling and sweating away, and you don't make any money without closing a deal. But I wanted to say good job on your salesmanship. You guys are on it. I do this. Like, oh, what do you do? So I told him about the cards. I told him when he asked like 512 gigs on a phone is pretty big. Like, what do you need that big of a phone for? Because he was probably trying to downsell me back to a 256. But I told him I run a YouTube channel, I have a school community, I do these cards, I make videos for social media, I do all this kind of stuff. He's like, oh, okay, that's cool. So they have conversations along the way that, make it personal. You're connecting with these people. He gave me his cell phone number. So shout out to Carl if you happen to be watching somehow. It was a good sales experience. And now I have a new phone, I have a new provider, and we'll see where it goes from there. But good on them. So if you're out there trying to sell cards, don't be afraid to go door to door, but be prepared when you do. Like, he had his iPad up on the coverage map to put in the zip code and zoom right in and show the map. There's no reason why you can't do that. You can have an iPad, or even on your phone if you don't have a tablet or something. You just have Route Snip open, and you can show them on there all the routes, all the demographics. We have a new version 2.0 for Route Snip where it has a live map where it actually zooms in and color codes the map to exactly where you're doing. So if you want to get that, just go to routesnip.com and check it out. I'll do a new video on that soon, but it's really cool. But you can have a live map on your phone ready to showing them that you know your stuff, you know what you're talking about, and that gives you proof of authenticity and professionalism that just saying, hey, 5,000 doors, $500 doesn't get you. You can tell them, hey, this is a zip code. Like, do you know an area of town that you'd want to reach? Because here, let's look on it on the map and zoom in and show them like, oh yeah, here's I-75, or here's Route 4, here's whatever. And this is like all the areas here that we're reaching with these, and see every single dot on that thing. That's another house. That's another home with 2 to 3 people in it that would be perfect for the services you're offering. So you have to be prepared. You have to know that what you have is a good deal, and you have to know why it works for them. So when you're prepared with those things in mind, you can go out there and be ready to talk to people, be ready to make some sales, because this is a great deal. If somebody tried to do a solo mailing of anything to reach, say, 5,000 homes, they'd be spending at least $4,000 on a good day. And if you're doing a community card to 2,500 homes, they'd be spending at least probably about $2,000 to get their own postcard printed, mailed, and everything. So know that what you're selling is a good deal. Make sure they understand that it's a good deal and the value of it, and you're halfway there. But just get out there, start having some conversations. The sun's in my eyes, so I'm going to cut this a little bit short while I get the rest of the way to the office. But thanks all for watching. If you like this content, give it a like, give it a subscribe, give it a comment below about any sales experiences you've had with other salespeople and what lessons you've learned. And I'll read all the comments and join the conversation. And if you want to join the community, just head over to EDDMschool.com. That's EDDMschool.com. And that'll pull you into my school community where we have over 450 members doing these cards across the country. Always happy to help, always happy to chime in and help you out and get your first or next card sold out real quick. All right, y'all. Till next time, take care. Bye.